Okay, let's get started. I know we're about a minute early. This will give to everybody time to get in here. Let me share my screen. There we go. Okay. Let's make sure. Perfect. Come on in. All right. Let me know if you can see my screen in the chat. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Weibel. Let me say hello in the chat. Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart. Give me something. Let me know that you can see the screen. The screen should say the business credit blueprint. Build real business credit. Perfect. Okay. So we're about a 1 minute early, so I'm going to let as many people get in the room as possible. But I do want to say two things. One, my camera broke, so I'm using my laptop camera, so I apologize if the angle's kind of weird. But that aside, here's who belongs here. If you just started your business, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you've been in business, but your revenue isn't quite what you want it to be, maybe you're under 10 grand a month in revenue, that's okay. This was built specifically for people in that arena. Now, it doesn't mean we don't have other products that can help people doing over 10,000 a month, but I don't want people to feel like, hey, I just started my business. This may not be for me. This is exactly who we're talking to today. So if you're a startup, or you don't know anything about business credit and you want to learn a little bit more, again, if you don't quite have the revenue you're looking for, but you know you will be, then you're in the exact right place. So I want to welcome you. I really appreciate you all being here. And we're going to dive in right now. So let's make sure. Here's what we're going to cover today. First thing we're going to cover is how anyone, and I mean anyone, can get business credit for your EIN. I know it sounds oversimplistic, but it's an absolute truth as long as you have the blueprint for it. We're also going to talk about how to leverage business credit to grow your business. And I'm going to give you real world examples that have worked. I've not only witnessed it, I've experienced it. So I'm going to go through a couple of examples. So when you think about business credit, I want you to think about these examples I give you. Every business can leverage business credit, every single one. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. We're going to show you how to get this actual credit with no credit check or guarantees. And there are lots of ways to do that, or lots of opportunities to do that. So we're going to show you how to get this credit with no credit check, no guarantee, and actually no revenue. We're going to show you how to get business credit as a startup, as a nonprofit. Again, you just started, low revenue, doesn't matter. If you just have an idea and you want to get your business started, we're going to show you why you should dive into business credit right away. And I'm here to show you a system that actually helps you do all three. All right. So this is going to be part educational, part showing you a system, and certainly I'm going to give you some real world examples. Okay. So hopefully everyone can still hear me and everything's working great. We are now 1 minute in, so we're going to start rocking and rolling. All right. So first thing, what we believe, right? What do we believe here at Credit Suite? All entrepreneurs should be able to attain capital. It's one of our biggest frustrations is we talk to business owners literally every day, hundreds of them every day, and they feel like every time they turn around, they're getting roadblocks. And there's a reason for that. The system has been set up so that only those in the know can succeed. If you ever feel like the forces are pulling against you, it's because they are. And it's not because they're out to get you in particular. It's just designed that you have to understand how to leverage business credit or even what business credit is. This is probably the number one confusion. Most business owners have no idea what business credit is, how to get it, and how to use it. You should know exactly how to get approved before you even apply. And I love this about business credit. And I love this about working here at Credit Suite and about the system we have in place. Because when I dive into our stories, I'm going to tell you how I built business credit without Credit Suite and how difficult that was because I really didn't know. That's the beauty of working with someone like us is if you know exactly what the underwriting criteria are to get approved, then you're confident applying. And I liken it to this. If any of you have ever bought a car with kind of jacked up credit, maybe not, horrible credit, but, maybe in the high fives or low sixes, and you go in and you're really concerned, what's my payment going to be like? What's the interest rate I'm going to give you? Well, wouldn't it be nice? And this, they all do it, where the sales rep leaves and goes back to the finance team to get you your approval, and you got to sit there and wait 15, 20 minutes. By the way, that's intentional. They want you stressing out while they continually ding your credit. Wouldn't it be nice if you go back there with them and know exactly what the criteria was before you even filled out the application? You know you're going to be approved. You know exactly what you're going to get. That's what I'm talking about. That's the beauty of business credit. You can actually get that and have that happen. All right. The other thing you need to know is what lenders know about you. See, the difference between personal credit and business credit is with personal credit, they need your permission to take a look at your business. With business credit, they don't. Business credit information is public information. And if I don't say it, remind me in the chat to give an example of where it's a great time. It's a good example of when you should pull somebody else's business credit, right? So I'll give you a couple of examples where that actually worked in my favor. You should also be able to access all credit and financing options in one place. That's just common sense, right? There's so many options and so many different ways to approach this. If you had it all in front of you, easy to follow step by step, it just make your life easier. And I'm all about saving time. Time, as you know, is money, right? There's not enough hours in the day. So any minutes or hours or days we can save you, it's just a gift, right? And you should and will have this access to the same exact business credit blueprints that the large companies use. And I'll give you a couple of examples of those. And you should get the most money at the best terms. I mean, that makes total sense. Now, if you see me reaching, it's because I'm moving my laptop. I told you my camera broke, so I can't even see what's on screen in a couple of cases. But we'll do our best to keep it entertaining. Okay, so a couple of things. This information is for you, and I touched on this earlier, is if you're a startup, if you're looking to grow your business, you've been denied financing or credit, or you think you will be, and it's amazing. My team has conversations with again, hundreds of business owners a day. And we hear one of two things when we say, everyone's goal is to get a loan or to get financing or to get something to scale their business. And we always ask the same thing. Tell me what's happened when you've gone down that road, you've applied. And you would think you would hear either I've been approved or I've been rejected. But 50% of the time we hear, well, I never actually applied because I think I'm going to get denied. That's unfortunate. Right? I don't want to see that happen. We want you to get every type of financing that's available to you. And part of the reason you think you're going to be denied is because you just don't know. And I get it, right? It's scary. We want to make sure that you absolutely get that information. We want to give you the easiest and fastest way to get credit. You belong here if that's what you're looking for. I'm sure that's exactly why you all are here. And you want your business to fund itself. That is probably the number one goal of the business owners that we speak to. They want the business to fund itself, right? If you're sick of reaching into your pocket, pulling out your personal credit cards or pulling out your own cash out of your bank account to fund your business, it does get old. And by the way, it's not scalable. It's impossible. When businesses go out of business, the number one reason they claim is because they run out of cash. They run out of credit. And in 99% of the cases, if I pulled their D&B report, I'd see they had no business credit. Right? And this is information is for you if you want the blueprint to get away from all those personal guarantees. So, all right. Is this about me or Credit Suite? Credit Suite. Okay. We've helped business owners build over $1 billion in corporate credit. I actually think that number is higher because we give away a lot of free information. If you've been following us on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, we give away a lot of free information that people just run with, which is great. We love that. Ranked one of the best entrepreneurial companies in America by Entrepreneur in 2018. God, I think we should update that. 2018, we're still one of the best entrepreneurial companies in America. A+ rated with Better Business Bureau without being accredited. What does that mean? That means we don't pay them. So we don't pay to be accredited, which, I'm not saying it's a scam, but I prefer to be A-rated because our customers rate us that way, not because I paid Better Business Bureau to rate me that way. We are contributors to Entrepreneur Magazine. We are featured on hundreds of radio shows, TVs, and podcasts. Matter of fact, we have the #1 finance podcast, the Business Credit and Financing Show, hosted by Ty Crandall, our CEO. More downloads than any other finance show in the country. Now about me, Steve Weibel. I'll go through this quick because nobody cares. So I am the author of Business Credit, the Complete Step-by-Step Guide. If you look on Amazon, it is the #1 business credit book out there, top selling and highest reviewed. I'm more proud of the highest review than the top sell. Don't buy it. I'm telling you right now, don't buy it. I think it's like 14 bucks. And there's a reason I don't want you to buy it. We'll talk about that in a bit. Featured on radio, podcast, national speaker. You can look me up. I've personally flipped over 300 homes. So those of you who are here who are real estate investors, you can be excited about a couple of things I'm going to tell you. I built and sold a large manufacturing company in the tens of millions in sales. I was one of the top 1% real estate agents in the country. Every one of those things happened in my career because I understood and learned how to leverage business credit. And of course, I'm a former Marine, so I provide any of these out there that have served. So again, enough about me. Let's move on. First, my gift to you. For staying to the end of this presentation, you're going to receive a no-cost business credit consultation with a business credit expert to review your report with the next steps, and a free guide using business credit versus personal. Now, here's what I mean by report. If you attended here, my team will get a record. They're going to reach out to you. We will pull your D&B report for free and go over what we see. Okay. Now, I can guarantee you in most cases, there's not going to be much there. Let me look and see. Make sure I have nothing going on in chat. No, we are good. Perfect. Okay. So, forget that text. That's from an old presentation. Okay. So look, first things first, getting money for your business is hard. Per the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, more than half of businesses will fail in 5 years or less. We touched on that. 82% of business failures are due to issues with cash flow. In other words, access to credit, right? 90% of business owners agree that availability of loans is a major problem. And 51% of small business owners worry weekly about capital. If you're here and you're a business owner, these stats probably don't shock you at all. I've started and built multiple companies, and that was the stress for at least 50% of my time in business. So that's the bad news. The good news is we can teach you how to succeed with money. You want to set up your business or correct your setup where it's fundable by meeting lender approval criteria before you apply. And we're going to touch base on a couple of those. You can get business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your Social Security number to become more lendable. And I hear this a lot more than I would hope to hear it, that, hey, I have a strong business credit profile, but I can't get a cash loan without a personal guarantee or collateral or putting up my cash flow. That's correct. The 3 C's are always going to apply. But here's the difference. I do a different webinar. It's called Escaping Financial Checkmate. For those of you who have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. The problem with all small business owners when they start is they fund their business with their personal cash and their personal credit. The problem with funding it with your personal credit, and let's see how many of you can answer this quickly. If I keep breaking out my personal credit card to fund my business, and businesses eat up way more capital than individuals do, what do you think is going to happen to my credit score as I'm maxing out my credit cards? You all already know, right? My score is going to go down, right? Because my utilization rate is going to go up. So that's putting yourself in financial checkmate, right? That's why building business credit is so important, so you can protect your personal credit. I only want to see my clients use their personal credit when they can leverage it and turn it into more money, right? So I would use my personal credit to buy properties because I was flipping them and turning it into more money, or holding them and renting them out. I used business credit to help do the construction, so I didn't use my personal credit to rehab the properties, right? I leveraged my business credit for that. So I had less personal credit tied up into that situation. Then I turn around and sell it, pay off the loan that I took on the property, but then pay off all the business credit that I used to fix that property, and then go on and do it again. And that's how I scaled from 0 to 300 in 2 years. Anyhow, you want to get business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social to become more lendable, and capital is available if you know where to look. So you need to find funding options all in basically one place. In other words, make it easier on yourself. And Google is not that place. Okay. So first thing, let's talk about improving your fundability. Let me ask you this. Have you ever gotten, I'm sure you're all going to answer this in a positive way. Have you ever applied for a credit card and gotten an automated and instant approval? Right? Anybody here who's ever applied for a credit card and been approved, it's usually automated. It rarely says we'll be in touch with a positive answer, right? There's a reason for that because they set up algorithms, and lenders and credit issuers have this secret unpublished set of standards that you must meet to get approved. The same thing happens in the business credit world. How fundable your business is determines if you get automated approvals or get denied. So when you begin building your business credit profile, we're not saying go out there and apply, and see if you get lucky. We know what that underwriting criteria is, and we know what they're looking for. And they're looking for the fundability of your business. What does it look like to them? What do they see where you can get an automated approval? When I say they see, again, algorithms are looking at it. So you've got to know that information. So improving your fundability is one of the first things. As a matter of fact, this is a small example, or actually a large example, of what fundability looks like. It starts with credibility and goes through the entire process, including your business credit reports, your financial statements, even your application process, how you submit that. So these it looks daunting, but a lot of this auto corrects itself if you get your foundation set up the right way. That's why that's super important. And even if your business is set up today, if some things are wrong, it's no big deal. None of it's unfixable. All right. And we'll go through a couple of those items. But you can see inside the large ones are all these small ones that, again, will auto correct themselves if you get the basics down properly. All right. So to improve your fundability, you want to make sure you set up your business where it's fundable. So some of these fundability factors are going to include the type of entity you have. So I'm going to stop there. What that basically means is if you are a sole proprietor, you cannot build business credit. Sole proprietor is recognized as you, right? You are the business. So everything's going to be based on your social security number. It's going to be based on your personal credit because the business is its own entity. So you need to have the right type of entity. The type of phone number you use is super important. Is your phone number listed in certain directories? That's kind of going away now because of some other things, some other algorithms are looking at, but they are definitely looking at the type of address you use for your business, the type of licensing you may have and should have. Even if you're not required to have a business license in your state for your particular business, it's always a good idea to do it. It raises your fundability factors with lenders and creditors. This is a big one, the congruency of all your records. You would be amazed at how many business owners who have been in business 5, 10, 15 years don't have matching information all over the place. And with the internet, you all know this, you can Google things up, and it's amazing how many times I'll Google a business up and see multiple addresses that one of them is no longer active. I can tell you one of my businesses still has an address in New Jersey. It's not even in business anymore, but it still shows up on Google. So you've got to make sure there's congruency. The biggest mistake I see is business owners will register a business at this address. They'll have the IRS have their home address because they don't want the IRS sending anything to their business. So now they've got two separate addresses. Secretary of State has one, the IRS has one, and then worse, the credit reporting agencies may have a completely different one. So as soon as that happens, that's a major red flag that looks like fraud. So congruency is crazy important. Updating that information is important. You should check that every year at a minimum. Oh, excuse me, I went too fast. The type of references you may have. What that means is basically the type of vendors and creditors that are giving you credit. The way your website and email are set up, that's super important. And the numbers you have, like your EIN, your DUNS, and your business identification number with Experian. So these are some of the items that, if corrected, will fill in a lot of the interior items on that wheel. Let's talk about the way your website and email are set up. So here's the deal. Everyone knows what's happening with AI, and it's only going to get worse or better depending on your perspective. Lenders have been on AI for a while, and they use it to filter through all these applications quickly. And they're looking for certain things that feel like or historically look like fraud. So they're going to scan your website. If you tell them you are a consultant, let's say you're a, I don't know, B2B consultant, but your website you have up is for your real estate investing business, it doesn't match, that's a red flag. If your email is a Yahoo email or something along those lines, that's a red flag. Doesn't mean that you're trying to commit fraud. It's just historically, they look at the people who have committed fraud and they look at what did they look like. Does that make sense to everybody? Give me a thumbs up if what I'm saying makes sense to you. That's all they're doing. They're not saying you're trying to commit fraud. They just know what historically happens when fraud is committed, what those individuals' applications look like. Okay. All right. Well, let's go the next way. So you must know what's being reported about you to have the best chance of being approved. This basically means you must be monitoring your business credit. So first things first, you want to improve your fundability. Even if you are fundable, most loan applications get denied because of potential fraud concerns, not because you don't qualify. This is what I was talking about. Lenders fight fraud by matching your company and application details against other data they have from places like LexisNexis, the CIA of credit reports, Dun& Bradstreet, Experian, the Small Business Financial Exchange, check systems. Have you ever bounced any checks? Equifax. So the point is, it all has to match. So the first thing that we want all of our clients, all of our students to go through is to make sure everything out there matches. It's pretty easy to do when you have the data in front of you. So you want to make sure that that happens. Even the slightest change, by the way, and we have hundreds of examples of this, the slightest change in fundability standard can actually turn a denial into approval. We had someone that was getting denied from American Express. American Express couldn't figure out why. It was their address didn't match. It looked like fraud. We caught it. They corrected their address. Instant approval, 6 figures, $100,000. It was one silly address problem, right? So even the slightest change can help. All right, here we go. There's one, I didn't even realize they were on here. Diaphalis and Thelma Sample, Success Tax Relief, they got turned down. They started following steps. They secured over $96,000 in business credit cards. Now they have other companies calling them, trying to give them credit, which is a pretty cool problem to have. Now, I love to bring that up. I'm moving on to the next slide, but I love to bring it up, and I'll tell you why. Because anybody who has personal credit or who has had good personal credit in the past understands what I'm talking about. So if you have really good personal credit, the odds are you check your mailbox, if not daily, at least multiple times a week, there's going to be a credit card offer in the mail for you. Now, your neighbor who lives right next door to you in the same zip codes may or may not have those same offers. Why? I can tell you why. Because when I ask people, what are credit reporting agencies? Think, well, there are people who report on your credit. No, that's not true. What they are is data salespeople. They sell your data. And who do you think they sell it to? Sell it to the credit agent, the lenders. They sell it to people who need that data to make a decision on whether or not to market to you because you'd be a good borrower. They don't want to spend a fortune on direct mail. And I know it's expensive because I used to print it. Mailing to me if my credit score is 500, but my neighbor's 750 or 800. So they buy data. Now, they're not pulling my personal credit score. What they're doing is they're buying a list of everybody whose credit score is between X and X, who lives in this zip code, which is typically at this level of income zip code, right? And then they're mailing just those people. So if we know that's true, and it is, because I can tell you I've gone from 800 credit score to 400 credit score and back to 800. And I can tell you when I was in the 4 and 5s, I didn't get those email or those letters in the mail at all, but I always did when I was in the higher credit scores. So if we know that's true, how do you think business lenders find business owners to market to? They buy the data, right? They're buying data from the credit reporting agencies and they're mailing them. So the business credit report is crazy important. What they're going to look for is make sure there's fundability factors, make sure you have X amount of trade lines reporting. There's other factors, obviously, they can look into, how long you've been in business. But my point is, they're buying that information so they can begin marketing to you. And if you just started a business, you're going to get this. So if you just started your business, you probably got a whole bunch of mail right away from either small banks looking to get you to open a bank account or from people who want to do your corporate documents, right? They're trying to sell you, trying to upsell you is what they're trying to do. Well, they bought that data, right? Same thing happens in the business credit world. So people will buy data from Dun & Bradstreet, from Experian, from Equifax, if they want to market. So it's going to depend on the underwriting criteria. Like a lot of lenders will use Experian. A lot of vendors will use Dun & Bradstreet. They're all different. But the point is, you have to have strong profiles in all of them, right? Otherwise, you won't even know about the offers that are out there. Because unless you're like a Google freak and you're constantly on Google, there are lenders all over this country that will lend you money. You just may not know about it. But why go look for them when they can look for you, right? So again, when you get a home mortgage, a car loan, or a personal credit card, obviously lenders and credit issuers pull your credit. When your business applies for money for your business credit is being used to determine, one, if you'll get approved, how much you may get approved for, and the rates and terms you'll pay. Now, I had somebody say this to me the other day. Hey, Steve, I applied for a cash loan and they still wanted to look at my personal credit. Absolutely. If you're going to put cash in your bank account, they're going to look for an asset. They're going to look for your cash flow, tie up your cash flow, right? It's called cash flow financing, or they're going to look at your personal credit. But after they look at that, they dig into your business credit. Now, why would they dig into my business credit? They've already looked at my personal credit, my cash flow, and the assets they have. Because they're trying to determine if they can give you more money and what type of rates and terms. And here's where I said I was going to give you multiple examples. I had one client, 800 credit score, great business, cash flowed really well, applied for a $100,000 SBA Express loan. Those of you who may or may not be familiar with that, that's a quick SBA loan, right? Lower documents. Was denied. Couldn't believe it. 800 credit score, great cash flow, was denied. I pulled his business credit report. There was nothing there. Nothing worse. It's a negative. Business credit reports, by the way, show a negative as opposed to nothing. Went through our program, filled up a strong business credit profile, went back, reapplied 9 months later, automated $300,000 approval. He was only applying for 100, but he had an automated $300,000 approval. What had changed? His personal credit hadn't changed. His business was still cash flowing exactly the same. His financials didn't look any different. What looked different was his business looked stronger because an SBA loan is a business loan, right? So that little bit of effort that he put in over the next 9 months paid off with 3 times the loan amount and way better rate than what he was expecting. So they do look at all that. The reason you can't just get cash loans based on business credit alone is going to make sense to you. I've written a book about business credit. I've worked at a company that educates people on business credit for the last 7 years. The odds are pretty good that I know how to build business credit, right? So what would stop me from starting 30 companies, building a strong business credit profile for all 30 companies? Once they're strong, go to 30 different banks, borrow $100,000 from each. It's all in the business name. None of it's tied to me personally. I get the cash and I disappear. None of it's tied to me, right? That's why when you get cash credit, they're always going to look at you personally or an asset or your cash flow, right? If the business is bringing in 50,000 a month, they'll loan so much money against that 50 grand. But your rates and terms, or even whether you'll get approved or not, is also based on your business credit. I hope I'm being clear. I hope everybody got that example, right? That's real life examples. Okay. So building credit for your EIN. First things first, I touched on it. You can be issued a failing score of your business, even if you have no credit reporting. Here's a classic example. This is somebody, if you see right here where it says payment and legal filings, there's nothing here. There's no trade, no collections, no debt at all, no UCC filings, zero. Their IntelliScore is a medium risk. Their financial stability risk is medium to high risk. And they're only being recommended for $1,000, right? So this score is predicting the likelihood of financial stability, right, over the next 12 months. In other words, will they go bankrupt? And look at the reason, factors lowering the score, lack of active trades. So now the Business Credit Reporting Agency is recommending a $1,000 credit line. I mean, 19-year-olds with their first job get higher credit lines than that, but that's what they're recommending because there's nothing reporting. What this says to a lender is nobody really trusts you or you're not really in business. Because if you're truly in business, you're doing business with people who are going to give you credit, who report, and it doesn't look like you are, right? So you've got a failing score. It's unfair, but it's just the way it operates. But this is why business credit is awesome. This same exact company, exactly the same company, got one account, a net 30 account with under $100 in credit. Under 100, right? They have a zero balance. They used it and paid it off. Look at their IntelliScore. Now let's go back. They were a 28 and a 6 on their financial stability, right? Now look, they're a 96. They're low risk, and financial stability risk went to low to medium risk. So with one trade line, you think it's not important? With one trade line, they went from a red flag to we're feeling comfortable with them. But just as important, look at the credit limit recommendation, $2,500. It more than doubled with one ridiculously low credit line of $100, right? So with business in the business credit world, you have to have at least $50 payment experience before it'll report. So this was obviously one that was below $100. But look what it did to their score, and that's with one trade line. Now that's what we call a thin file. So they're saying, hey, this company looks so much better to us. We're willing to raise them. Our recommendation is 2,500. But that's only because it's a thin file, right? Think about a river, right? You could have a creek, real shallow, right? It might be a little wide, but it's super shallow. You want a deep and wide profile, and you want it on multiple reports. So that's what's great about business credit. So there's an example. This is exactly what happens. The scores just continue to go up, continue to go up. And as you get higher and higher and higher, you're going to see recommendations like this one. They're being recommended for $725,000. As you continue to grow, the business reporting agencies are going to recommend you for more and more money. It just happens. And it happens without you having to worry about it. As you begin adding more and more trade lines, you're going to notice, first of all, the limits are going to be higher without you even asking. And then as you begin using it, the recommendations get higher and higher. And I told you I was going to give you a real world example of how you can leverage that. Do I have any real estate investors in this room? If I don't, those of you who are thinking about being a real estate investor, great, good. We have at least one or two. Perfect. So when I got into real estate investing, I already understood a little bit about business credit because I had had this manufacturing company, and you can't survive in manufacturing without business credit. So I immediately began to build my business credit profile for the real estate investing company. And I started with my net 30 accounts, and I don't want to bore you with the details, but quickly, within 6 months, I had a really strong profile. And I had high limit credit with places like Home Depot and Lowe's. How many people think a Home Depot and Lowe's 5-figure credit card would be helpful to a real estate investor who's flipping houses, right? Of course it would be, right? So not only wasn't it important to me, I was able to use one against the other and take those numbers from, it started around $5,000 to 100,000 in a year. Now I have $100,000 in credit with Home Depot, $100,000 in credit with Lowe's. Now, the reason I was able to do that is twofold. One, because I was using the credit and paying it back. And two, I would literally go to the manager of the Lowe's across the street from the Home Depot and say, hey, they raised my credit line. I'm thinking about moving my business there. They would look at what I was spending with them like, whoa, 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 we don't want to lose your business. So that's how business works, right? I was able to, instead of buying one property at a time, begin to buy 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 properties at a time because I had enough credit that I could buy all the supplies without borrowing the money from a lender, right? It was all in the business name. I could max it out. It didn't matter. I was buying them, fix them up. I could either refi them, pay off that debt, and now I've just got a regular normal loan, or I would flip them, which I had investors lined up to buy my properties. I'd fix them up, rent them out, and sell them to investors. So I went from 0 to 300 in 2 years. When people ask me, how did I do that? I wasn't smarter than anybody else. I just was leveraging somebody else's money, and it wasn't in my name. It wasn't personally tied to me. It goes as far as the vehicle I drove that was wrapped with an I buy houses. Any of you have seen that goofiness? I have my F-250 truck. I buy houses all over. It was all wrapped. That was in the company name. The truck was in the company name. The wrap was paid for with business credit. The gas cards that I had were business credit. The phones I used to talk to customers, all tied to the business, none of it tied to me personally, right? So if you don't think you can leverage business credit, that's just one example. I can give you the printing company. Another one was the printing company. Printing company, I had millions and millions of dollars in credit with my suppliers. Now, not all of them reported positive payments. They all would have reported negative, but I was able to build up to that because I watched it happen with my father where he didn't have that business credit profile. And as his business grew, he kept getting stagnant and he couldn't get past certain points because he just didn't have enough credit line. Did not have enough credit in the business name, so everything was personal, right? There's a couple of real world examples. So look, The good news about business credit is you can get approved regardless of your personal consumer credit quality. It really didn't matter. Home Depot did not look at my personal credit, right? I can tell you now, Sam's Club at the time didn't look at my personal credit. That when I got my vehicle, didn't look at my personal credit. There's no consumer credit inquiries or reporting with business credit. This is even more important. The credit limits are 10 to 100 times what consumer cards are. And I'll use an example that should make sense to all of you. So, as a real estate investor, I can tell you I had a $500 gas card. $500 makes sense. How much gas am I spending in a month? And this is back when gas was only $1.50 a gallon, $1.75 a gallon. Um, so yeah, it feels like 1970, right? But no, it was actually the 90s and early 2000s. So I had a $500 limit. It's plenty for me. I never spent more than that anyway in a month. I had a friend who owned a trucking company. His limit was $15,000. Now, why was that important? Because it wasn't just to be used for fuel, it also was used for tires, for repairs. At truck stops, he could buy food, all tied to the business. So they also look at the type of business you're in, and your credit limits will be based on the business you're in, whether you use more and more of that. As a real estate investor, I spent a ton of money with Home Depot. If you're an electrician, a Home Depot credit card would be amazing for you. If you're in construction, Home Depot would be great for you. If you are somebody who deals with sells computers, maybe high limit credit with Best Buy. It all depends on what your business is. So, but they are significantly higher, 10 to 100 times higher. I could never walk into Home Depot, even with a 775 credit score, and get a $100,000 credit line. It just wouldn't happen. They would probably give me 5 to 10 grand if I'm lucky, right? Here's the second part that I love about it. You get credit quickly because it's based on payment history, right? Not how long have you had the credit. It's strictly looking at your payment history. So business credit scores are based on how you pay your bills, not based on utilization rate, not based on anything other than do you pay your bills on time, right? So if you have a net 30 account and you pay your bills within 30 to 40 days, so even then you're a little bit late, you'll get typically a 78 paydex score on Dun& Bradstreet. And the best part of it is you're going to get credit quickly. You don't have to wait for the next level. So anybody who's over 40 knows their first credit card was probably a furniture credit card or a jewelry credit card, and you got $500 to maybe $1,500. And then you had to wait and you had to show proof that I'm good at managing this credit before you got offered maybe a low limit Visa or MasterCard. And then eventually at American Express. American Express was the card to get back in the day because it was tough to get. Doesn't work that way in the business credit world. You pay your bills on time, move on. You could begin getting more and more credit. And the more you get, which is almost always the case, right? It absolutely separates your reports of consumer and commercial, which is what we want. I want your personal credit to be something you guard like it's your children, right? You don't want to use it for anything other than making money, right? Or something personal like your personal home, etc. You want to keep everything that your business does out of your personal credit, right? Also, building credit establishes your credibility for lenders, suppliers, credit issuers, and one more thing, customers. I told you I was going to give you a quick story. I was bidding on a big job in the printing business, and I was bidding with another competitor, and it was going to be close. I pulled their business credit report and showed it to the purchasing agent for this big company. I'm not going to tell you who it was. Yeah, well, actually, I will tell you who it was. It was the Philadelphia 76ers. And showed them that their credit limit for paper was crazy low compared to mine, which was 10 times the size. I'm like, look, they may or may not be able to produce the job. I've got the credit available to do the job, to buy that $1 million in paper. It was actually $500,000 in paper. So I pulled their business credit report. I would pull customers' business credit reports. Customers, do I want to do business with them? I will pull suppliers' business credit reports. Anyone can pull your business credit report. Nobody needs your permission. They just need your business name and where it's located. It's pretty easy to pull. I told you, schedule an appointment with my team. We'll pull your business credit report and we'll go over it with you. the odds are there's not going to be much on there. Hopefully, they even know who you are, which is probably the number one issue you run into. So keep that in mind. Your competitors can pull your business credit report. Your suppliers are going to pull your business credit report. Your lenders are 100% going to pull your business credit report, and your customers can pull your business credit report. Okay. So here's an example of somebody who got a lot of approvals who came to us at the bottom, almost out of business. Started off low, 2,000 with Sprint, 4,500 with Amazon, 5,000 with Tractor Supply, 5,000 with Exxon, by the way, in the trucking business. Fuel Man Fleet, 6,000, BJ, 7,000, BP Oil, 8,000. Do you notice what's happening with the fuel cards? Lowe's 10,000, Apple 12,000, Shell 15,000, keeps going up. They want your business, right? So Exxon took a shot, gave a $5,000 credit limit. Fuel Man Fleet said, we'll give you 6. BP said, no, we'll give you 8, buy from us. Shell said, how's 15? Murphy USA said, yeah, we'll give you 15 as well. Office Depot, 15,000. Sears, 15,000. These are all approvals that she sent to us. Costco, 20,000. Best Buy, 40,000. Dell, 40,000. Think about that. Dell, 40,000 in computers. Nobody in this room right now is going to go apply to Dell and get approved for $40,000 in computers as a consumer. Never going to happen because you're not going to use it, right? They know that. What are you going to do with $40,000 in computers? Pilot Flying J, anybody who's familiar with Pilot Flying J, that is a rest stop. That's a fuel company. $50,000 in credit with them. 50, they also do repairs. They also have the rest stops, right? So you can buy food, etc. So they started off at $5,000, is now up to 50,000. It gets better. Roost Plus, 75,000. Had to do a roof for her business, got credit for it from the roofing company, right? In the business name. How about Ford, $185,000 for the trucks, right? RTS, 300,000. That's a ride and drive or a sign and drive. That 300,000 is now up to 800,000 just for that account. Where if she wants to add a truck, just goes in, signs for it, and goes signs for the business, right? The business signs for it, grabs a truck and leaves. This again is someone who, when they came to us, was ready to go out of business, wanted to close, right? And over time, and not much time, was able to build up to that much credit. If you're in the trucking business, how big a deal would it be to have, if I add this up, 50, 65, 90, 60, 90, 95, over $100,000 in fuel. Over $100,000 in fuel credit, right? All approvals with no consumer credit check. And in case you think this is baloney, this is her right here, and this is her sending the approvals, right? There's her 15,000 from Murphy, right? Look at all those credit cards you got, right? Those who say business credit without a PG is not possible. These are just a few of my cards. This does not include what I'm waiting on to be shipped, nor what I have for my other businesses as well. She has other businesses, so it can be done. Yes, you'll have to eventually do a PG somewhere down the line for cash. We talked about that. But a good majority, if you follow Ty Crandall's program, which is Credit Suite, you'll get what you need, right? Look, $150,000 line of credit through RTS Financial. Now 300,000. So it's even higher now. They have a fleet credit card at 10,000 per week per truck. It's incredible, all with no personal guarantee. Do you think building business credit has an impact on how your business operates, right? Are you all here? Are you all paying attention? Just want to make sure. Usually I start seeing hearts like, hey, what is up with that? Yeah, it's exactly what happens. There's some other approvals. These are people, this isn't Christine, these are other approvals. Fuel Man card stay, it's a star. We now have Uline, Granger, Quill, Pilot, just waiting for everything to start reporting. Here's another one, Sam's MasterCard, 2 weeks, no PG. I actually called the store to verify, came in the mail. Don't abandon those dreams, keep trusting the process. No PG, 17,000 between these two. It just goes on and on. 5,000, DigiKey, 10,000, Home Depot, $1,000, Amazon, 7,000. That's a great example. Now look, 8,500 with Citgo, 5,000 with Lowe's, but only 1,000 with Home Depot. Probably not in a business that buys a lot from a hardware store. But it looks like at Citgo, 8,400 probably has a driving service, some sort of driving service, right? So it's going to be based on, here's your third set of fleet cards. It goes on and on. JCPenney, that's an old one. Again, Lowe's, it just, I could do this day. If you go to our Facebook page, they're just everywhere. It just never ends. The point is, and here's one, Amazon, $17,000 line of credit with no PG. Let me ask you all a question. what can you, I hate to ask what you can buy at Amazon. It's a better question to ask, what can you not buy from Amazon? Basically houses, right? You can buy everything at Amazon. So having a $17,000 credit line with Amazon is a big deal. Here's a $50,000 line of credit, right? I see somebody's asking a question. Oh yeah, other people's money. That's right, Stephen. So this just goes on and on. I could sit here for an hour with y'all doing this, right? Man, Ty, can you believe I'm crushing it? Crushing it $10,000 at Apple, all under the business name, no PG. On Friday, we're going to do the UBF program, $50,000. One to say thank you. I remember this one. This is one of my guys. I already received a $50,000 credit line with Pilot Flying J. Stephen, there you go. Stephen convinced me to get the program. That's back when I was in sales. So it just never ends. So if you're looking for social proof, here we go. These are people putting it right on our Facebook page. It never ends. These are people who trusted what we were saying to them. They get it, and their life is changing, completely changing. There's a Chase Ink card, right? $14,500. First gas card, no PG, 4,500. It just goes on. I'm almost tired of hitting the button here, right? So any and all businesses qualify. I'm sorry, I keep looking up here. I told you my camera broke. Any and all businesses qualify for business credit. You can be a startup, nonprofits, owners outside the U.S. Again, you can be an owner outside the U.S., but the business still has to be in the U.S. It works if you own multiple businesses. Here's why it works if you own multiple businesses, because it's education, right? And if I teach you how to ride a bike, right? When you get another bike, you don't have to take lessons from me how to ride a bike, right? You just get on that bike and start riding. You know how to ride a bike. So I want to teach you how to build your business credit profile. You can get approved for business credit even when you can't get any other type of loan or credit line. No cash flow requirements, no collateral, no consumer credit, none of that, right? And to be honest with you have to build it. You have to build it if you want to get approvals for high credit lines in the future. Now, again, at the beginning, I mentioned, hey, this is really for your startups, your lower income businesses, the ones who just, or have somebody who has a dream, they want to start a business. This is for you. You're eventually going to want that SBA loan. You're eventually going to want that credit line. You're eventually going to want that cash loan. The best way to ensure that you get that, well, there's multiple ways to ensure it. One is to make sure your business actually is cash flowing, obviously. But two is you want to protect your personal credit. And the way you're going to protect your personal credit is to not use it for the day-to-day operational things. And even if you're not operating yet, you can get approved for this credit so that when you're not tempted to pull out your debit card, you're not tempted to pull out your personal Visa card. Use business credit to get it. I don't do anything. I have a business that I own just so I can have business credit. Seriously, just so I can have business credit. It's for me, it's a great way to protect my personal credit. You can get approved for so much credit without using personal credit. It's ridiculous. Most people can never use it all, right? Now I know we're at 46 minutes. I'm going to give an example of Josh. I personally know Josh. Uh, I met him because we were going to use his agency to do more webinars, and he was going to introduce us to influencers. And then when he saw our program, I was on his podcast. He was super excited at what we do. He said, "Look, I'm having a problem getting loans right now, and I don't know why." Went through our program. They were able to, first of all, got a massive SBA loan, plus we got some initial funding. But they were able to make smart investments in staffing, marketing systems, sales systems, product development, all these things that before Credit Suite or before having access to capital we helped them with, they couldn't do. I just don't have to stress as much because we got the money in the bank to take care of the opportunity. Josh had a legitimate business. He was doing business. He just couldn't scale it. He had these roadblocks. He could never take advantage of those opportunities. Um, and building his business credit profile freed up his personal credit and set him up for a really nice SBA loan that allowed him to begin to scale his business. And now he's so big, I bet I don't even know if I can get him on the phone if I reached out to him. He's so big, right? So there's another example. I'm going to give you another example in the real estate world. I had a strong business credit profile. Now I flipped all these properties, and I got a phone call from a tax sale certificate company. They had an apartment building in New Jersey, where I lived, that they wanted to know if I was interested in it. It was 34 units. Don't laugh at this price. It was 34 units for 300, and I think it was $20,000, which is ridiculously cheap. But it was bad. It had been abandoned. So there was drug dealers in there, prostitutes, you name it. It was crazy. Beautiful looking building. They only wanted 300 grand. I couldn't get in it, and I only had an hour to make a decision. Now, if I was over leveraged with all the properties that I had, I would never have been able to buy that property. I was able to not only buy it, I was able to get an approval for it within 30 minutes, put the offer in, accepted, bought the property, fixed up half of it, and sold it for 1.1 million. The person that bought it for me fixed up the rest of it and sold it for $2.3 million. Right? That's fine. I'm glad. I was happy they made the money. My point is, I wouldn't have had the opportunity. Well, I had the opportunity. I wouldn't have been able to pull the trigger on that opportunity if I hadn't protected my personal credit by leveraging my business credit for all the day-to-day things I was doing. And I'm telling you, I had maintenance people. They all had credit cards to Home Depot. All the vehicles I had, all in the company name. Our phones we were using back then, Nextel phones. Those of you who are old enough to remember those. All of that because I understood business credit and understood that I needed to protect my personal credit. Right? So there's another real life example. So look, you can also get access to funding for your business if you actually have good personal credit. You must have access to grow your business. After 2008, Dodd-Frank required banks to tighten up their lending standards, which they did. But as a result, alternative lending sources poured into the space with a 25% higher approval rate than bank loans. There's more funding actually available today for small business than ever before, but most lenders offer one loan. That's it, right? They offer one type of funding, make it almost difficult to have access to what you need. With what I'm going to show you, you're going to have access to all of that, right? You can get revenue lending, merchant cash advance, accounts receivable. Now, some of this is going to apply to businesses with revenue. Remember, we talked about the 3 C's. If you're a startup, I get it. This is not something you'll be interested in. We just want to make everybody know, and I'm live streaming this, that this is also available. Angel investing, venture capital, private investment, term loans, SBA, business lines of credit, house flipper financing. Could have used that back in the day. So you can get access to money now if you're qualified. But I really just want to talk about business, right? So you're going to have access to all legitimate business spending options in one place. That way you can get the most money at the best terms. Or after you've built your business credit profile and you feel like, hey, now's the time, we're going to show you how to get the loans that you need. Look, here's one, Junius Bennett, another real world example. I personally spoke with Junius when he originally called in. This is his story, and he would share this if you had him on the phone right now. But he was really in a bad situation just starting his business. And I left Credit Suite. He got signed up. And I left Credit Suite for a year because I got recruited back into real estate. And when I came back, I couldn't believe they had this from him because I hadn't spoken to him. Uh, he not only expanded his business and he helps veterans, which I love, but he had 4 or 5 vehicles in the company name, not tied to him personally. He had multitudes of credit cards that were in the company name, not tied to him personally. Like it was an amazing the change that he went through. I can tell you when I first spoke to him, he was riding a bus. Right, that's all I'll give you about that. But it was worse than that. And then the next time I talked to him, he's got employees, he's got all these vehicles. It'd only been a couple of years. Think business credit had anything to do with that? He didn't have good personal credit. So it really can be a game changer. Let's see. So how to improve your fundability, build business credit for your EIN and get access to credit and loans in one places. This is where we're going to go into what we do, right? So here's the deal. Again, you should have access to everything you need, access to build business credit, access to the underwriting criteria, know the fundability factors. You should have that in a step-by-step process, something easy to follow. It's difficult enough starting a business and running a business that things like this should be as easy as possible for you. Our business finance suite is actually going to help you do all 3 of those things. You're going to, when you enroll, you're going to have 24/7 access to your own business finance suite, succeed in English, not Spanish. I don't know why it's on there. All the things you need. Look, I can go through this whole thing, but here's what I'm going to do. Who wants to see what I'm talking about? Anybody here want to see what I'm talking about as opposed to me telling you about it? Perfect. Daniel, Steven, great. Perfect. That's exactly what we're going to do. Okay. So at mycreditsuite.com, you're going to get access to our business credit builder. Now, our business credit builder is a step-by-step process to build your business credit. Now, this is without coaching. We have a much more expensive program that has coaching. But if you're here and you're a startup and you're a doer and you're someone that has no problem following instructions, y'all are in the right place. Because this product, by the way, this is what I'd be doing, will take you through step by step. Let me just show you the first steps, right? So the Fundability Foundation, we touched base on that. When you get into Fundability Foundation, we're going to go through everything from your business name. Now, so if you haven't even started your business, this is actually perfect for you as well. We're going to give you some educational videos on why your business name is important. Then you're going to enter your business name. Then we're going to go to your address. So remember, we're going through the foundation here. We're going to talk about, do you have a business address? You're going to put in your address. Don't put in 123 Fake Street like I did. And then you're going to select what type of address. Is it your home, a virtual address, a business address, commercial building, PO box, registered agent? I can tell you right now, you don't want PO box, and registered agent is a red flag. So you can see right here, business shouldn't have anybody. You're going to save that and continue. What we're doing is we're taking you through every part of the foundation, and we're educating you on what it should be during the process. And if you didn't have what you don't see, oh, there it is. If you didn't have an address, we give you the resources right there. You don't have to go looking for it. We know that these virtual addresses are approved by the business credit reporting agencies. They're approved by vendors. We have no issues with most vendors. We're going to take you through all of that. If you need website and email, that's one of the things we're going to dive into. We're going to not only talk about why it's important, we're going to ask you for your website, ask you for your email, and your email should be info at. That's really what you're looking to get. And if you don't have it, that's okay. We'll give you a link to go get it. And so you don't have to really go find anything. It's all here for you. Again, we're going to take you through the entire process, show you exactly how to get your business structured properly. If it's not structured properly, we're going to show you how to correct it, right? Then we're going to show you how to get registered with all the business credit reporting agencies, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, right? And we're going to show you how to begin, start building. The next thing, once we have you all registered, we're going to have you start building with Tier 1. So I'm going to share a couple of them with you right now so you can see what I'm talking about. So a lot of you are probably familiar with a company called Quill. They're what we call a starter vendor, right? So we're going to show you that after you've been through the business credit foundation, the Fundability Foundation, you've established your business credit reports, we're going to show you what you're approved for, right? What you're recommended for, based on where you're at. So if I click on, like I said, Quill, so Uline, we go to Uline, it's going to pull up exactly what you need to qualify. Remember, I told you it's good to know whether you're going to get approved or not, what you need to qualify, what they will approve you for, what types of terms, what they sell, right? How to apply, and we'll give you a link directly to it. Easy peasy. We tell you right over here who they report to. Now, why is that important? Because remember I said to you that business credit reports based on your payment experiences. What I didn't tell you is it doesn't report exactly who the company is. It only reports the industry they are in, right? So Home Depot doesn't report as Home Depot, it reports as hardware supply. Now, why would they do that, right? You're not used to that. In your personal credit world, they report, Citibank or Chase or whatever, right? Ford, Motor Finance. Well, the reason they don't do it in the business credit world, it's going to make sense to you once I explain it, because I touched base earlier. I said that anybody can pull your business credit report, including your competitors, right? So remember I mentioned the printing company example? Imagine if my competitor pulled my business credit report and saw my supplier who I was buying paper from that maybe he was unaware of, he or she was unaware of. Now they know who I'm buying my paper from. They can go see if they can work a great deal. Maybe I was an amazing shopper and I found a great supplier, right? So they're not going to share specifically who you're using. They're just going to share the industry they are in, right? And who they report to. So again, back to payment experiences. So if I get approved for Uline, and I'm going to ask Jeffrey, since you were the last one to answer, if I get approved for Uline, let's say for $500, and I use that credit, it reports to D&B and Experian. How many trade lines do I have, Jeffrey? It's my first one I've applied to. How many trade lines do I have now if I've got approved, I used it, I made my payment? How many trade lines do I have reporting? Hopefully Jeffrey's listening. If he doesn't answer right away, Steven, Daniel, anybody else who's in this room, feel free to answer. How many trade lines do I have reporting if I've been approved for Uline and I use it? Steven says 1. Okay, thank you. Daniel says 2. Okay. Daniel's correct. Because remember, it doesn't say Uline, it says supply, shipping and industrial or packaging material supply. So I've now got a trade line reporting to D&B and Experian. I have two trade lines. So the secret is if you know who's reporting where, you know, they'll be sorry, Jeffrey. Nobody knows that, right? Oh, I'm sorry, because you didn't answer. So the secret is if you know who they report to, you focus on the ones that report to two or three at a time. If it makes sense for you to have them as a creditor, you speed up the process. You get through to what we consider a strong profile, which is 14, 15, 16, 17 trade lines reporting, and that's where the limits get crazy, right? So everybody can see how we give you the exact qualifications, who they report to over here, what the terms will be, whether they require a PG, because that's important, right? What they sell, so can you use them? Now you want to be careful. Don't just eliminate if it says shipping, industrial, and packaging materials, because you know what? You could go to Uline and buy, let's say, I don't know, not that I expect you all to buy a mop, but you can buy a mop. You can, but there's all kinds of things they sell besides just that. Uh, the point is, every creditor that we show you that you have access to, we're going to give you that information, right? We're going to give you that information. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go through all of them because this is being live streamed, but you can see just in tier one, all the ones we have where you will get approved. It's tier one. Then you're going to monitor your business reports. Now, how do you monitor your business reports? You can do that through going to Experian, Equifax, and Dun& Bradstreet directly, which will cost you a lot of money, right? Or you can get Bureau Insights, which is about 69 bucks a month. Um, you can dive into that later once you get into it, or we can dive into that later. But if you went to D&B and Experian and Equifax, it would cost you about $250 a month to pull your business credit reports. You definitely want to monitor, that's for sure. Now, not only do you want to monitor, you also want to check, I touched base on earlier about, yes, you could absolutely use Nav Prime, Stephen. We used to actually have Nav integrated, but Nav stopped having D&B, so we had to pull it out. So we had this custom get Bureau Insights built that actually is what lenders pull. We have the same exact report that lenders pull, which merges all three together, gives all the information that lenders see. And we remember earlier I said it's important to have what lenders see. Nav Prime is a great example. Again, we had thousands and thousands of customers using Nav Prime. So if you just want to monitor it that way, you're more than welcome to. Okay, so I want to touch base on this LexisNexis. LexisNexis is the CIA of credit reports. You need to pull that report. If you've never seen your credit report, your LexisNexis credit report, you're going to be shocked. It's probably this thick, right? We're going to show you how to get that. It is free. Everyone should pull their LexisNexis report, okay? And then, of course, we're going to show you how to get your check systems report. Then once you're monitoring, we're going to take you into building tier two. So I'm not going to show you everything, but I'm going to quickly show you there's a bunch more in here. So this is an example of one or two that we're going to give you. We're going to give you a ton. There's hundreds in here. And for those of you who are like, well, yeah, but what happens when I get to the end? Well, let's figure out what happens when you get to the end. You've got banks that are in here, First National Bank, Premier Bank, Regions Bank. You've got obviously banks, Brex, PNC, Ally Car Financing, Ford Car Financing. There's your Sam's Club. I personally have that in my pocket. So building your business credit, you're not only building a strong business credit profile, you're actually going to have access to some cash type credit as well. So it's not going to be cash. Remember, we said with cash, you're always going to personally guarantee, but you can get cash type credit, what we call universal credit or traveling credit, right? So my Sam's Club card, which is a really high limit, I can use anywhere. It's a MasterCard. I can go anywhere I want and use it. So these are things you can get by building your business credit. All right. Does everything I showed you make sense? Everybody get what I just showed you and how simple it is to follow. We give you the underwriting criteria, tell you how to apply, everything you need to follow this step by step. Do I have a bunch of people in here who know how to follow instructions? Hopefully I do, right? Okay. So Steve, here's the question. What's this going to cost me, right? I know you're all worried. What's this going to cost you? So here's the deal. You're going to get access to all this stuff. I want to make sure I get back to this page. Why is it not moving? Did we freeze? I think we did. Next, here we go. I think we froze. Bear with me a second while I refresh this. For some reason, we froze. We did. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Slideshow. I, there we go. Let's get you all the way to the end. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. All right, let's get to the end. So, what I'm going to do is I want you to write this down. If you're here, write this down. Real easy to remember. Steve, STEVE. That is the discount code. You're going to use this discount code to get a massive discount once I get you here. Right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I probably should have done it in this mode. All right, there we go. Okay, so Steve's your discount code. And when you see how cheap it is or how inexpensive it is, you're going to be like, you know what? It is stuck. That's the problem. It's stuck. Bear with me 1 second. Why are we stuck? That's why. Here we go. All right. So, can everybody see that? Everybody see that? So, we sell our Genesis program for $197 per month, no contract month to month. Now, why would we do it that way? Because I want you to be happy. I want you to see the proof is in the pudding, right? Since you hung out with me today, that promo code, Steve, you're going to get it for $165 per month. Now, you can do that. I can tell you it takes about between 6 and 9 months to build business credit if you focus on it immediately, monitor your business credit, and go through all those steps. And here's why it takes that long. It's just logistics. Victor, I approve you for $10,000. You have to buy something for me. I have to ship that thing to you, even if it's just using it at a gas station. Then I have to send you the invoice. Then you have to pay the terms. Typically, that's 45 days, right? 45, 50 days. There's 4 tiers. 45 days times 4 is 180 days. That's about 6 months. If you have any delay in there, that can go as long as 9 months. So because we know that, we'll give you 6 months for free if you buy 6 months at once. So $990, which is a massive discount from $1,197. Right? So we'll give you 6 months free. You'll get 1 year access for $990, or you can simply go $165 a month. Again, month to month. It's not a contract. Cancel anytime. It's a subscription. You're not going to cancel though. I guarantee you. What I didn't show you is you're not going to go, for those of you who think like I do, you're not going to be able to see tier 2 until you've been approved for enough in tier 1. It's going to open up for you. So don't think like I think, which I'll just buy it for $165. I'll get all the information. That's what I would probably think about doing, right? But it doesn't open up until we've already built that fail-safe in. So it will truly. So that's why I'm saying if you're serious about this and you want to build business credit, go for the $990. If you have the funds, go for the $990. Look, you can call my team if you're like, hey, I really want to do this, but maybe I can't afford $165, or I'd like to do the full pay. Maybe you want to split that in half. Give my team a call at 877-600-2487. But for those of you who are ready, willing, and able to right now, go to creditsuite.com/Genesis-special. I'm going to put this in the chat for you right now. Genesis-special, so that you can click that link. It'll take you there. But don't forget that you need to use that promo code Steve because it's going to charge you $197, right? I want you to get it for the $165. This is going to save you a ton of money. First of all, when I built my first business credit profile, it took me about 2 years. 2 years. Credit Suite didn't even exist then, right? If this had existed, I would have run to pay them because it would have saved me about 18 months. And I don't know what your time is worth, but my time when I'm building a business, 18 months, massive. Just the lost opportunities, right? So this is going to save you between 18 and 24, or typically it'll take 18 and 24 months if you do it on your own, if you can even do it. This just saves you all the time in the world, right? Again, creditsuite.com/Genesis-special. Again, promo code Steve, $165 a month, month to month, no contract. Buy 6 months, get 6 months free. If I'm looking to be a partner, should I get my representative at Credit Suite before I do anything? Absolutely, Daniel. If you're looking to be a partner, I don't want you to buy this, right? Remember I said this is for startups who aren't ready? There's a reason. If you're looking to be a partner, call your rep at 877-600-2487. You're going to get to build your business credit included with the partner program, and you're also going to get coaching. Now, speaking of, I mentioned this is for startups because I know how tight cash is for startups. If you feel like you want something more robust, you want hand holding, you want somebody to coach you through the process, then you want to reach out to us at 877-600-2487 and ask about our fundability program. It's significantly stronger, same data, but significantly stronger. It brings in all the data points. In addition to that, you get hand holding unlimited coaching for a year, and we get you 5 years access to the system. For those of you who aren't ready for that yet, that's okay, right? Start here, begin building your business credit profile. If you feel like, hey, I want to upgrade, I want to get some coaching, call your rep, 877-600-2487. Okay. We'll take you. I keep looking at the old camera and I'm so sorry. That must be so weird. I keep looking at the old camera. Don't be afraid to give us a call, 877-600-2487. But if you're ready to go and you're somebody that can follow instructions, this is the way I would go. 165 a month, you're not going to see that again. It's month to month, no contract, promo code Steve, STEVE, all lowercase. You can buy 6 months for $990 and we'll give you another 6 months for free. So you'll have 1 year access. Now, why would I want to do that? One, because you know you're locked in at $990. If you did a year at 165, you could do the math. That's like $2,000. So it's half off. The other reason would be if I had one company that I wanted to build business credit for, and then I had another company I wanted to build business credit for, and I had 1 year access, couldn't you follow the instructions twice? Right? Think about it. Now you're getting it for even less money. So if this is something you feel like you need, and you all do, it's just a matter of where it is in your priorities, give us a call at 877-600-2487, or simply go to creditsuite.com/Genesis, GENESIS dash special, SPECIAL. Promo code Steve, STEVE. That's my name. Loved having you all here today. Right before I go, does anybody have any questions at all that I can answer? I think we're going to be good because I started seeing some questions that I was typing all along. Nope, we're good. Thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it. Those of you who are on the live streaming. Sorry I couldn't say hello to you all personally, but thanks so much for being here. Again, any questions, give us a call, 877-600-2487. Look, scale your business. Do it the right way. Leverage somebody else's money. All right. Take care. Have a great day.